So, good day, ma'am. I am Aileen Mozo, and I'm going to report about the chapter 1 of the business organization and management. So, the development of our business culture. So, people have engaged in business activities since the earliest beginning of community existence, when early man produced more of crop or caught more game animals or fish than he could consume and barter the excess for something produced or caught by a neighbor. He was engaged in business activities. So, business was already highly developed in the ancient world. Recent excavations have unearthed business transactions written on clay tablets, which are 6,000 years old. So, the Code of Hammurabi, promulgated around 2000 BC, had provisions governing transactions. The Roman Empire had clearly defined wage system. The galleon trade was the trade between Manila and Acapulco in Mexico, which was carried on mostly during the 18th century. So the Spanish community in Manila tried to accumulate fortunes by speculating on the annual trip of the galleon to Acapulco and back. So the ones who obtained the profit bonanza were the Chinese. This was because of the goods shipped into Acapulco. So true carried by the Manila galleon originated from the cargoes brought by the junk from China. So the main item traded was Chinese silk. There were also precious metal works from India and drugs from Persia. So business is capitalistic if we have number 1 is a private ownership of non-personal means of production. Number 2 is the production for private account. So number 3 is the voluntary savings in the institution of bank credit. So in a capitalist economy, otherwise known as the market economy, prices serve as indicators between the consumers and the producers. So the market evolved as a result of the exchange between buyers and sellers, which consequently lead to establishment of prices. The forces of supply and demand are allowed to operate with as decisions taken by buyers and sellers, coordinated by the movement in prices. If ever the buyers wish to purchase more than what the sellers wish to sell or can supply, prices will rise. Mas mataas pa ang price. As prices increase, buyers tend to reduce their purchases while sellers increase in the quantities they wish to sell. So, pares na sila nga, if ang sellers wish to sell more than what buyers prepared to buy, prices fall, causing sellers to decrease quantity sold and buyers to increase the quantity as they wish to buy. So, according to Karl Marx, all mankind must sooner or later pass through the succession of different historical stages, ending on the attainment of the stage of socialism and finally communism. So the identical factor between the two is the common ownership of the factors of production. Unlike in capitalism wherein private ownership exists, so Marx makes certain distinction between socialism and communism. So letter A is socialism. Goods are not yet sufficiently produced to meet all the material needs of the members of the society, while in communism, the said state of abundance has already been achieved. So letter B, so in socialism, man produces as a result of incentives like wages, while in communism, production is undertaken without any prodding since work becomes natural to the members. So the acceptance of the laissez-faire theory is that the competition can be trusted to guide business activity towards socially desirable ends, completed the process of molding our business society into its present form. So it is true that business has been present since man's earliest beginnings. So the study of business. So the modern business culture has such as all-embracing and pervasive effect on every single member of the Philippine community that it becomes advisable to have a clear mental picture of its meaning. So some enterprises are clearly business enterprises while some are clearly not. In some cases, the dividing lines not so clearly drawn. So there is probably no finely drawn dividing the line between business and non-business. So obviously, a merchant is a businessman while clergyman is not. So the attributes of the term business. So business has been defined as an organization of the people with varied skills, which uses property of or talents to produce goods and services which can be sold to others for more than their cost. So, a fundamental characteristic of a business that distinguishes it from other economic activities is the fact that the goods produced or purchased of the service created are not primarily for the consumption, not according to these characteristics of business. So, be considered a businessman. But the modern farmer who produces for the market is, in a very real sense, a business. So, the kinds of business. So, the extent and nature of business activities are almost as diverse and comprehensive as the totality of the social and economic interest of man. W.R. Spargel classifies that business activities into three broad groups, namely commerce, industry, and service. So, commerce refers to the transfer of exchange of goods and services with the movement of goods from point of production to point of consumption. Industry. Industry is primarily concerned with the creation of form, utility, or the production of goods that are used either by the consumer and are therefore called consumers' goods, or by other industries in the further production of other goods and therefore called producer goods. So the broad grouping of industry is further subdivided into genetic, extractive, manufacturing, and construction industries. So the services. So the services are the third broad classification of business. These enterprises cater to personal needs of people or with the rendering of the personal service. So why people go into business? So people go into business for a variety of reasons. Daghan jud kayo rason nga ang usa ka tawo mo kuan og usa ka business. They may go into business as owners and employers or as employee. So the decision to go into business and not into some other activity as the priesthood or medicine or law may be the result of conscious thought and deliberate preparation over a period of years. Or it may be due to the fact that a person finds no easier or more satisfactory way of earning a living. So both owner and employee need essentially the same personal characteristics that are required to succeed. So both also enjoy certain values which are desired when people go into business. So these values are social approval. So the social approval is the businessman has a high social standing in the community. So the second one is the profit. So this is the major factor of motivation for going into business. So number 3 is the service to the community and to employees. So the fourth one is the personal satisfaction. So this personal satisfaction comes about from the social status conferred on those engaged in business. The fifth one is the livelihood. So next is power. So some people enter business because they expect to rise up to positions of prestige, power, and leadership. So the last one is protection. Okay, for the reason why people go into business are as infinite as the choices that are open to individuals and the motivations, thus it is also important why we should have a knowledge of statistics, economics, sociology, and psychology. For the first one is the statistics. So statistics deals with mathematical tools, trends, and decision theories. So letter B is the economics. It deals with the study of the collection of scarce resources for the satisfaction of human wants. Sociology. So it deals with individuals' relationship to society as a whole. So the last one is the psychology. The choice of a particular business. So in choosing a particular business, a person may exercise deliberative judgment. So for those who are free to choose, the following factors may control. So number 1 is the available funds. So the second one is the special aptitude and interest. So the third one is the training, education, and experience. Fourth one is the social status of the business. So the competitive situation, location factor, and social values of the particular community. So an individual with social and economic ties in a particular place may want to engage in a certain business which can only thrive in another place. So the location factor and his social ties will guide him arriving at a decision. First one is the present or potential demand. So the social significance of business. So the last one is the secret of business success.